All right, so gravimetric stoichiometry is essentially the goal for today. So we're going to take what we learned about mole ratios and begin incorporating it into calculating things from chemical equations. So essentially what gravimetric stoichiometry is a way to determine a method to determine the mass values of any entity found in a chemical reaction. Okay, so what that means is it can be a reactant, it can be a product, right? So let's say we have A plus B making C plus D. I can solve for the mass of anything here. I can solve for the mass of reactants. I can solve for the mass of a product, maybe a product and a reactant. You can determine the mass value of anything in a chemical equation as long as if you have the mass of one thing. Okay, so it's always where you have the mass of something and you're trying to find the mass of something else. Okay, literally the only way to kind of learn this is to do examples and to practice this. So I'm going to show you a bunch of examples. You're going to try an example. You're going to do a lot of homework for this because you need to practice. It's a skill that gets stronger as you continue working the skill. Okay, so there are 4 steps to doing any of these problems. They're not going to make a lot of sense until you start practicing this out. So step number 1 is you must have a balanced chemical reaction. So sometimes you'll be given a description and you have to write the balanced chemical equation from your from scratch. So that's like what you did in Unit 2. Sometimes you're going to have an equation, but you have to balance it. And sometimes you'll be given it. Okay, but no matter what, you cannot continue in this method until you have a balanced chemical reaction. Okay, so the second step is, as I mentioned, you will always be given at least the mass of one thing. So step number 2 is you're going to take the mass that you're given and you're going to convert it into moles. So we're going to convert mass into moles. And remember, we do that by doing mass over the molar mass, right? So we learned how to do that in the last chapter. Step number 3, we're going to now use our mole ratio that we learned how to do in the last lesson. So remember, this is where you do your setup, and here you have your coefficients, right? We've already practiced this. And then lastly, you're going to take the mole value you get from this. We're going to convert X into the mass. Convert moles, and it's going to be X basically from the last one, into mass. And remember, we do that by doing moles times the molar mass. So you'll have the mass of one thing, and you have to solve for the mass of something else. But you can never determine masses automatically. You must essentially use moles to help us to go from one substance to another. That's why this mole ratio becomes very important. Okay, so we're just going to do a bunch of examples. So here we have how much zinc sulfide is produced when 1 gram of zinc is allowed to react with sulfur. Okay, so this, we already have a balanced chemical equation. That's done. So what are we given? We have the mass of zinc. I'm going to write it underneath our zinc. And we want to know the mass of zinc sulfide. Okay, so this is a very typical question. You have the mass of something. You have to solve for the mass of something else. Like, I know this is showing you a reactant and then a product. It doesn't matter. It could be you're given the product and you want to solve for a reactant. Maybe you have one reactant, but you have to solve for the other reactant. Like I mentioned, just like with mole ratio, as long as if it's something in the balanced chemical equation, you can solve for anything here. Okay, so number 2, we're going to take the mass that's given and we're going to convert it into moles. So we want the moles of zinc, right? Because that's what we have the mass of. So we're going to do mass over the molar mass. Okay, so we have 1 gram. Now for the molar mass of zinc, it's just 1 times zinc. The coefficients are never used when doing the molar mass, okay? The coefficients are only used when we do the mole ratio section. So when you're doing the molar mass values, it has nothing to do with the coefficient. So this is just 1 zinc atom. Okay, so the molar mass of zinc is 65.38 grams per mole. So we're going to plug that in here. Okay, so 1 divided by that. So we get 0.015295. Okay, so remember, we're not rounding this. We're nowhere closer done. We're halfway through, actually. So we're on step 2. Okay, so just keep some digits here. Don't round that. Okay, so number 3. So step 3 is we're setting up our mole ratio. So X is what we want to solve for. We want to solve for zinc sulfide. The value that goes underneath here is what we have the moles of currently, which in this case is zinc. So 0.015295 moles, and that is zinc. This is now where we use our coefficients. So zinc sulfide is 8, and zinc is also 8. So when we solve for this, it's going to be 0.015295 times 8 divided by 8, which essentially is going to be the exact same thing. So now this is the moles of zinc sulfide. So notice we have moles of zinc. We use the mole ratio to figure out the moles of zinc sulfide. Now the last step is we're going to solve for the mass. So we want the mass of zinc sulfide, and we're going to do that by doing moles times the molar mass. So the molar mass for zinc sulfide is going to be 1 times zinc plus 1 times sulfur. I do need to see your molar mass calculations. Even if it's a little side calculation here, I do need to see so I know what you're adding up here. So we have 1 zinc plus 1 sulfur, which ends up being 97.44 grams per mole. So our mass here is going to be 0.015295 moles times the molar mass, 97.44 grams per mole. All right, so let's calculate that, 15295. So we get a value of 1.4903 grams. But let's check out, now we do our significant digits. So notice throughout all of that, we were not concerned with significant digits until the very, very end. So the original question has only one number to look at. 1.00 is 3 sig figs. So that means our final answer here is 1.49 grams. Okay, so let's go through the steps again. Number 1, balance chemical equation. Number 2, take the value you have the mass of and find the moles. Number 3, take the moles you just solved for and set up a mole ratio to solve for the moles of what we are looking for. And then you can find the mass by doing moles times the molar mass for what we ultimately needed to find. Okay, so we're going to do another one of these together. Actually, I believe, yes, so I'm going to do one more with you and then you'll try the next one out. So here we have how much iron is produced. So right away, we're looking for the mass of iron. We have 50 grams of iron 3 oxide. So the mass of this is 50 grams. and it's reacting with carbon monoxide, but we don't have a mass value for that. So really we have the mass of this, we're looking for the mass of that. So number 1, balanced chemical equation, already done for us. Number 2, we're going to take the mass that we have and we're going to convert it into moles by doing mass over the molar mass, right? So let's do a little molar mass calculation for Fe2O3. That's going to be 2 iron plus 3 oxygen. Okay, so you should have here 159.68 grams per mole. So we can solve for our moles of iron. 50 grams divided by 159.68 grams per mole. Let's double check that again. 2 times 55.84 plus 3 times 16. Yes. Okay. So then we do 50 divided by that molar mass. We get here a mole value of 0.31313 moles of iron 3 oxide. Okay, awesome. So now we're going to set up our mole ratio. So remember, X is a substance we want. So we're looking for iron. So this is going to be moles of iron. Underneath is what we currently have the moles for. 0.31313 moles of iron 3 oxide. On the right-hand side is going to be coefficients. So iron is 2, iron oxide is 1. So this is going to be 2 Fe over 1 Fe2O3. So X is going to be equal to 0.31313 times 2 divided by 1. So we get here 0.62626 moles of iron. Okay, so we have now moles of iron. Last piece is we want to solve for the mass of iron. So mass of iron is going to be moles times the molar mass. So keep in mind, the molar mass is not the coefficient. You're looking at just the actual formula of the substance. So this is going to be just 1 iron. So that's going to be 55.84 grams per mole. So our mass here is going to be 0.62626 moles times 55.84 grams per mole, which gives us 34.97 grams. Now let's take a look at sig figs. Ooh, this is not great. 50 with no decimal place is actually only 1 significant digit. So when you're looking down here, this 34.97 actually is going to round to 30. Because remember the 4, it's closer to 30 than it is 40. So we have 30 grams of iron. Okay, so keep in mind the sig figs, you only look at the very, very end. If you were to start rounding, look at how many different steps we're doing. If you were to start rounding up here, like this section, your final answer will be so far off because every step along the way you're rounding more and more and more. Okay, so here is your next example. Give this a try. So how many grams of magnesium oxide, so we're looking for mass here, are needed to react with 30 grams of phosphoric acid? So we have 30 grams here. So notice we don't have any product information. It doesn't matter. We don't need that necessarily. As long as if we have the mass of something, we can solve for the mass of something else. So keep in mind, this is not a balanced equation, as a little hint to you. But when you're looking at this, that should be the first thing you check. Okay, so give this a try and then look to the next part to get the answers for this.